Hey, I'm Dr. Drew Pinsky, and you are watching Behind the Brand.
Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with Dr. Drew. I usually ask my guests, how'd you get this job?
This job probably happened as a result of my publicist getting me booked repeatedly on CNN, and then I actually ended up sitting in for Larry King a couple times and hosting his show.
Oh, wow. How was that?
That was probably the most intense thing I've ever done, or one of them anyway. When you sit in, it's when Larry King was Larry King too, and you sit in his chair with his stuff around you, all I remember thinking was like, oh, this is a place. Yeah. This is like a substantial spot in the universe, and it was all timed to the minute. He made so much look so easy, you have no idea. So when people were critical of some of his questioning, stop it. Larry was a master, and that was that. And I think someone over at HLN caught that and asked me to do a show here.
Bring us up to speed. So people who haven't been following your career since K-Rock, tell us kind of where you've been and where you are now.
K-Rock I did for 35 years, and we just stopped doing that a couple weeks ago. And that was, changed my life stopping it, because now I get to go to bed at night at 10 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock. And so Loveline was there all along, had many different hosts over the years. I do a show on KBC, a local AM talk show here in Los Angeles. I did a show called Celebrity Rehab, which had many incarnations, including sex rehab, and we just did a rehab show with regular people. Everyone asked us to do a show without celebrities. Why don't you ever treat non-celebrities, which is all I did in my career. And we did that show and nobody watched it, so that lasted one season.
Yeah, I think it's worth underscoring that you're an actual medical doctor.
Yeah, I practice medicine all the time.
Yeah.
And I was practicing medicine 14, 16 hours a day for 20 years, and had really sort of two careers going. I had a general medical practice, which include hospital-based intensive care medicine and general medical patients, which I still see. And then in the psychiatric setting, I ran their medical services first, and then ran up addiction medicine services for about 3 decades, really I was there.
I'm curious, you get flack from the academic or medical community about, now he's some hack on TV, and
I don't get the hack because believe me, I'm speaking from a knowledgeable place, but did get that back when I was younger, which was when you're an expert, everyone's an expert in medicine, and so when you're an expert and you see some young guy getting out of line, it's like, hey, I should be doing that. Why is that guy doing that? Right. And I understand that. Yeah, and I just kept doing it quietly, not using my real full name, and didn't really want to know I was doing it, but. As I started doing sort of more television and guesting on things, it got harder to hide. But then I got older, more mature, and had more experience under my belt, and people didn't feel as ambivalent about me.
So what have been some of the obstacles or challenges to either getting your message out, or as you've had new career opportunities, whether it's your podcasts or your AM radio show or your TV shows? Yeah, talk about some of those. And the reason I ask this is because a lot of people who watch this show, they're in different industries, but they have some sort of great message, right? They have a story to tell, or they have work that matters. And I think we can look at you as a case study. You call you an entrepreneur.
I think those sorts of things have to not matter, if that makes sense. You have to just keep looking for opportunities to do what it is you want to be doing. You have to be clear on what your mission is. With me, it's do good, make a difference, get good information out, change the culture in a healthy way.
So have those values ever been at odds with the people that want to have you on their TV show? Or
people want television, and I didn't really understand how to do that at the beginning, and so I would, maybe lose jobs or not be asked back on shows because I would not play ball. Because I really didn't know what they meant. I didn't know what was needed for television. And so
what is needed?
Conflict and intensity and volume and all kinds of stuff that you have to pay attention to, that I was anathema to paying attention to. I didn't want to. Yeah. And I remember my wife was instrumental in sort of getting me to pay attention. She goes, they're using a camera. Pay attention to how the camera. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I've had many people sort of break me down over the years to pay attention to things that gave me more opportunity to do the things I wanted to be doing. So, I guess under that would be have good counsel, have a great manager who's carefully guided me. And my thing has always been I don't want to even do it. You deal with it. I don't want to. I want to just leave me alone to practice medicine. And when there's a place to give good information or have an interesting job that will make a difference, count me in.
Yeah.
I mean, when they came to me with celebrity rehab, I was like, you can't do that. There's no way.
Why not?
What do you build a hospital? I mean, go into a psychiatric hospital? Impossible. You can't. No way. So I took them around. I showed them it was impossible, and it was actually when Bob Forrest came in my office one day and said, we got to do a TV show. We show how hard this work is, and these celebrities that people think are on spa vacations, how sick they are, and how much work they do. And I said, interesting you would say that, because people approach me, but I don't know. He said, no, we got to do it. So I went back to the drawing board and I started thinking about, again, so solve problems. How can we do this? And I thought, that guy at the Pasadena Recovery Center, that's a residential program. They don't have the same confidentiality restrictions at a psychiatric hospital. I wonder if I did non-hospital based care in a residential setting and brought my team in and we just filmed that would work. And that was the idea. That's what we did. And so I guess, staying creative, problem solving, those are all the kind of fun parts about all this, is, trying to be a problem solver and be creative and bring new things to the table. And that's what I'm trying to, now I'm paying much more attention to that. I mean, this is now 35 years in. I'm finally really paying attention to that.
So you've got this new app out, and it's really, as I understand it, you're trying to really scale healthcare, and you're trying to scale personal attention.
I am trying to solve the problem of primary care, which I've lived under the tyranny of my entire career. People don't understand, primary care doctors make less than plumbers. So Heal, which is our app, you can get, it's like Uber for doctors. You push the app, you'll have a doctor within 2 hours. It's $99, it may be just $20 if your insurance covers it. And people don't understand how you can do that. I understand, because I've been being primary care for my entire career, other than the sort of consulting stuff I did in addiction. But I ran a primary care practice where you can barely meet your overhead. You can barely do that. So to run around and do it in people's homes and things, that eliminates some of your overhead. That's a sweet deal for doctors, and it's a sweet deal for patients, because they shouldn't be going to urgent care. They shouldn't be going to emergency room. It's paying $800. You can do it for $99 with a board-certified physician at your door within 2 hours. That's solving the problem of primary care, both for the patients and the physicians.
How involved are you in that business? Are you advisory board?
Advisory board. I'm just getting involved with it. But when they first came to me, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had this when I was sort of getting in practice. This would really make the practice. Primary care physicians are so unhappy. We're burdened with paperwork, and we're being told how to practice by insurance companies and how many patients to see, and Medicare just breathing down our neck, and letters from the office of the Inspector General, threatening us with jail time all the time, as opposed to letting us just go out and do our work. And that's what this app allows us to do.
Let's talk about getting stuck emotionally, whether it's dependent on some sort of substance or emotional obstacles.
Yeah.
We all have times when we feel stuck. You've had a lot of experience with this, and maybe you can talk about your POV. What do you think gets people stuck? And then maybe let's talk about what do you think gets people unstuck?
Well, I can, a lot of things get people stuck, right? I mean, you can have very severe fears, you can have substance abuse, you can have relationships, and you can have just caretaking demands that make it impossible for you to sort of break out. But psychologically, what gets people stuck oftentimes are sort of self-imposed prisons. I had lots of therapy myself, and I'm a big fan of people getting therapy if they are stuck, because there are always options. And when I was super perfectionistic, I could not delegate. I could not delegate. I couldn't be anything other than perfect. I couldn't be anything other than available 100% of the time. And being perfect 100% of the time, first of all, is depleting. Secondly, is impossible. And thirdly, makes you miss other priorities and other opportunities, as opposed to delegating some stuff, being perfect some of the time, but other time maybe you just can't be. And that being okay. That took years of therapy for me.
I was going to say, how did you work through that?
Years and years of somebody being supportive and present, and making me look at things carefully, and just having that secure base of another person gives you the therapist gives you the security to go out and try something different. What would it feel like if I were not so perfect? And if on your own, you won't do it. You won't do it. If you're a perfectionist and compulsive and a workaholic like I was, you won't do it.
Maybe look right into camera, this lens right here, and give entrepreneurs who are feeling stressed out or not good enough, or they're...
Okay. Those of you that are entrepreneurs out there, if you're afraid and not feeling good enough and wondering if it's worth it, you're right in the right spot, because that's where everyone, most people anyway, when they're an entrepreneur, feel. And yeah, some will fail, and here's the deal. That word failure I mean, it's empty platitudes, but just get up and do it again. It won't have been a failure, but a learning experience. And listen, I had a company, drdrew.com. I saw a company from seed capital to A capital to B capital sitting at Goldman Sachs with a huge valuation on a company that the venture capitalists on the other side of the table said, let's just see how this day turns around, how this day goes, which was March 19th, I think it was 1999, when the bubble burst on the internet. I was sitting right there. We collapsed, we dismantled, we liquidated, and I got a great education, and I live to work on something else, as will you.